a show of hands. Hands up anyone whose life is not perfect. Anyone who would like to change something, improve something about your health, your wealth, your work, your relationships. Okay. Everybody with your hands up, the next 5 minutes are for you. I've spent the last 25 years of my life studying and sharing techniques to do just that. Techniques to improve the quality of your life by creating more of the reality you want. Disney Pixar had a brilliant movie out this summer called Inside Out. And that title captures the essence of what I know to be true. We create our lives from the inside out, by how we think, how we breathe, and how we move. And that's what I've been sharing with friends, family, clients, anyone who listened really for over 20 years, thinking techniques for a flourishing life. And then I had kids. And everything I knew to be true, everything I'd shared with anyone who would listen, stopped working. So my kids have spent the last couple of years teaching me that sometimes we have to work in reverse. Sometimes we transform our lives from the outside in. Sometimes the movement needs to come before the thinking. Because thought, breath, and movement are not three separate elements. They're access points to a single system. A system that is complex and dynamic, interrelated and self-reinforcing. A system where a change in any one aspect triggers changes in the same direction in all the others. For example, when I think I'm having a great day, I notice everything that's positive. My body language matches, my breathing is expansive, and my mood is good. Equally, when I'm tired, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, my body collapses in, my respiration constricts, my mood dips, and my thoughts turn towards what's wrong with my life. In preparing for TED, I spent a good deal of time trying to think of a neat analogy to explain this complex system of interrelated processes. And then I realized it's a little bit like the internet. We don't need to understand how it works. We simply need to know how to get online. I didn't need an analogy to explain the system. I need one to explain the access points. So think of it this way. Many of us these days have multiple devices, a phone, a tablet, and a desktop. The desktop, like positive thinking, is really useful when you have time and space to sit down and do substantive work, goal setting, getting your mindset right, exploring different vantage points to get perspective on a particular problem. The tablet is more mobile, and like your breathing, useful for a quick fix. That time in the day when you pause, even if only for a moment, to exhale everything you've been holding on to as the stress of the day accumulated, and to inhale a little more deeply and evenly to replenish our reserves of oxygen and energy. But the smartphone, that's what you need in an emergency. When the stress and the pressure are so much that you can't even think straight, that's when you need a solution that is literally at your fingertips. And that solution is to move. Stretch your arms over your head. Expand your body to take up more space. By rearranging our physicality in this way, we trigger changes across the system, from our hormones to our emotions to our respiration, and eventually our thinking, realigning them in a more positive direction. And that's why I found this insight to be so useful, maybe even essential. Because even for those of us who know how helpful it is to think positive, when everything goes pear-shaped, at those moments we find ourselves again struggling with self-doubt and recrimination and feelings of frustration and hopelessness at this particular challenge, at the very moment when I need every tool for positivity, positive thinking becomes practically impossible. And how do I know that for sure? Because my children tell me. In the throes of their life challenges and upsets, when I weigh in with my well-intended help, they glare at me. Don't make me do the positive thinking stuff. I can't. And anyway, it doesn't work. And the thing is, they're right. At those moments, whether you're 5 or 45, it is too hard to switch your thinking, to challenge the negatives, to focus on what's possible. At those moments, sometimes the only thing we can do, which turns out to be the best thing we can do, is to move, stretch, expand, And then that glorious, incomprehensible system does the heavy lifting for us, triggering shifts across the board from our physiology to our neurology, so that suddenly, sometimes quite unexpectedly, we start to feel better. And once we feel a little bit better, we have some chance of grabbing hold of those negative thoughts and redirecting them in the ways that we know work for us. So on your good days, think your way to success. On your bad days, move, stretch, expand, and wait for that glorious dynamic system to do the rest. Thank you.